Oh yeah. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, good night, good whatever time it is, wherever you are. I am back. This is the Dreadlock Doctor, Dreadlock Doc, your humanitarian complainer. No. Author of Broken Souls, Chronicles of a Humanitarian Health Worker. This one here, just so you have a peep. There you go. Yes, and today we are continuing this series that I started the other day, Trauma and Triggers, that takes us through some of the stuff we go through, the pains, the traumas, and what triggers them sometimes. I don't know if you watched part 2 where I was crying like a baby. I kept crying, not kept crying, but yeah, I cried a number of times. Quite embarrassing. We shouldn't cry, but I cried. And I think I had triggered something prior to that. And then I just started releasing water from my face. So yeah, oh, cheers. Cheers, by the way. You see how big this mug is? It's almost the size of my head. Okay, my head is quite big. So, and that means I have to use a big spoon, that long. Again, let's see how the spoon, now that spoon is, that spoon is that long. Yeah, that. Okay. So the reason I'm showing you this mug is because I was a bit nostalgic this morning, just a little bit. This mug was given to me as a gift by the comedy crew that I was in university in Russia. This mug is old. This mug is old. I was given this mug in 2002. So do the math. It's not a young mug, and yeah, it's still here. I've used it a number of times. At some point, because now in the last 12, 13 years, I've been out on humanitarian missions internationally, so I couldn't carry it around with me. It's just been at home. And thanks, Bree, my niece. I call her my firstborn. Being my niece had kept it for me for about 6, 7 months when I was again running up and down, and I moved from the house where I was staying in Kiambu Road, and I had nowhere to keep my stuff, so she helped me keep this. And thank you, Sante Sana. And those jokes of yours about my age, uh, those ones, I don't think I've forgotten. One day I'll get you. One day, wewe na braces zako takupata. Anyway, yeah. So, Humanitarian Chronicles is my recently started podcast to kind of allow me to whine to you. I remember I keep telling you, you are my therapist. I am the therapistee. Talk about, not whine really, but talk about experiences as a humanitarian, whether nationally or internationally, and share what it is that is partly in this book. Also share what it is that we go through in general, I go through, and hopefully soon I'll be having guests on the show so that we're able to discuss more experiences from other people, because again, as I keep saying, not by any stretch am I the most experienced or the most knowledgeable in this. I just have some experience, and I felt, because I've not seen very, very much in the space of humanitarian work where there is proactive support for humanitarians across the board, whether it is military, whether it is medical like us guys, whether it is just anybody who is doing whatever kind of work in humanitarian settings. I've struggled with that because since I started this international kind of mission work, with Ebola in 2014, did 3 years in West Africa, Liberia, and Sierra Leone doing Ebola response work. Then after that, I did 6 years in South Sudan, and then I did about 4 months in Sudan just before the war broke out in 2022. Then I did Ukraine for a year, and I did Gaza and Cairo, that region, for a year also. Of course, before that, I worked in Moyale. I worked in some crazy places where, again, stuff was happening. So generally, trauma, issues, stuff, life was happening, and I did not see, especially in my international humanitarian work, I kept trying to see where somebody has set up proactively, intentionally, a support system for humanitarian workers, for emergency responders, all emergency responders, whether they're humanitarian or not humanitarian, or whatever it is they do, I don't see. I know there are organizations, companies, NGOs, and whatever, who have maybe a counselor on site or a counselor on call. That's good. But it's the proactivity that is lacking, because we went for Ebola response, finished, left. The first mission left, came back. when I did with IOM in Liberia. I was the medical coordinator of CNJ ETU in Grand Cape, Mount County. We had a psychologist, we had psychologists in the team, but these psychologists were there to help the patients, which is good. I keep saying we have good programs, we set up good programs, we create them, we implement them for the community. That's what we are supposed to do. That is good. These psychologists were in the team with us, also providing services to the society, to the community, to the patients that we were serving. Good, well done, perfect. But you didn't expect these same psychologists to now deal with our traumas and help us coming out of our traumas when they were also experiencing the same. So it would be overwhelming. Thing is, we left the first mission, came back home. Nobody, nobody bothered to set up an exit kind of debriefing for mental health at all. Take you through what you've been in, help you get that out of your system in any way at all. Nobody at all. It never happened. And that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate, because then I had a story about a lady, a nurse, who went for the Ebola response around the same time we were there in 2014. And she did quite some time, but then by the time she got back home, she was completely non-functional. It affected her so badly, so negatively, emotionally, mentally, that I don't know if she's now back, but she wasn't functioning for a long time. She basically lost her mind and had to be taken into psychiatric care for a while. And I need to follow up on that with the friend who told me about this. So you can imagine that kind of a situation. Nobody ever talked to us completely. We figured out our own ways. In my case, I script and I do skits. I create skits about the stuff I'm going through. Oh, by the way, yeah, very soon I might be getting back on the stand-up comedy stage. So watch out, watch out for that. Watch this space. Who knows? Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, we had no support. I then later went into South Sudan. In between, I did some other job. In between that, I worked for Unilever in Kericho. I worked for Unilever in Kericho. I was the admin and occupational health in charge of the whole health system for Unilever, at least for Kericho, that region in Kericho, all the health facilities. So the main hospital, I was basically the head of the hospital, and also all the dispensaries and the health centers that Unilever has had in that place. And even that was not the easiest experience. I don't know if I ever told you about a time that I had to have a full tank of fuel in my car any single time, because there had been threats against my life. And I had to be sure that if anything was to happen and I got into my car, I was able to get to Nairobi without having to stop at any point. It was that crazy. People had actually come to the health facility with guns, armed people, looking for me. So thing is, I'm pretty antisocial. Okay, as I keep saying, and you'll see that in the book. I am an ambivert, more inclined to being an introvert. So I don't mingle. I don't want to mingle much. Anyway, I'm antisocial. So I don't mingle much. I don't go out much. When I go out, it's very intentional with very specific people for a period, and then again I go back into my cocoon, lock myself in, and I have stayed in my room. You have colleagues one day. I'll probably see if they can come on the show. I have colleagues in Liberia specifically with whom we were housemates, and they had a party which I knew about, but I locked myself in the room with my snacks and my food the whole day. It was a whole day party. It started like 10 in the morning and it went all the way into the evening and went into the night to the next morning. So basically Friday into Saturday. And I locked myself in my room. It was self-contained, thankfully, in my room. Did not move. They knocked and knocked. I put my phone on silent. They called and called. So they thought I was out of the house, just for them to see me the next morning. Imagine. So they were not sure they were seeing me because they were all hungover. So they probably thought they were having hallucinations of this ghost walking into the room. From the house, I literally did not. And I can do that. I can stay in my apartment and not open the door for days, and I don't feel a thing. Just rebooting and recovering from peopling, seeing too many people. Yeah, so what was I saying now? What was I saying? You don't keep me on track. You let me just wander off in my thoughts. Anyway, shauri yako. See, you're the psychologist, so you ramble with me and find me, and I'll find you, and we'll find each other at some point. Anyway, so I did Unilever. People would come to the health facility with guns. You could see they had guns, and they looked quite dangerous. People looking for me, and because I was antisocial, they had, oh, I'm back on track. They had no idea who I was, because it was commonplace previously, like the person who was heading the whole process before I got there was a very public guy who would be out there. The other staff, senior staff, would be out there with colleagues and, in big places at the golf club and stuff like that. I didn't do that. And so I would a number of times I would be standing. Okay, this the one time I remember. Other times I was told about people who would come and then disappeared when they asked for the IDs, and they said they wanted to see me, and of course they were armed. I was standing next to the receptionist, my receptionist, and we were just chatting at her desk. And this guy walks in, standing there. I rarely like put on my lab coat unless I had to go and see patients in the ward. So I was just standing, and we were chatting and laughing, and normal friendly stuff. And this guy walks in and he's like, "Yeah, madam, nataka kuona daktari." She's like, "Which daktari?" Daktari mkubwa. So me. And he had said hi to me, habari yako mzuri, and then continue. So I'm watching him and I'm looking at him and studying him. And so he says, "I want to see daktari." She's like, "Yeah, what do you want to see, daktari? Are you staff in Unilever? No. Are you from management? No. Have you been sent by any of the staff or any of the management people? No, I've been sent by Honorable so and so, some high-ranking politician in Kericho. And yes, and I've been sent to talk to him. Why? Is the Honorable sick? No. Are you sick? No. Are you representing? Is it about a patient? No. I've been told to meet him and discuss with him something very important." Then I had been studying him, and I looked, and there was the butt of a gun sticking out from the back of his belt, from his belt at the back. And I looked at her. I signaled this. Yeah, I can't remember. I signaled this to her. So she saw that, and she knew what it meant, because we had been discussing this with her. Again, there were interesting things that happened. I'll talk about that in another video, I think. So she was like, and please give me your ID so that I can see who you are, record your name. We didn't have that as a requirement, but she already realized something was amiss. And especially when he talked about Honorable so and so, who was known to have been intimidating managers in the company whenever somebody went and complained, and mostly it was false complaints, false accusations of being harassed or whatever. Not harassed in a bad way, but harassed in the sense that somebody wants to come to the health facility and report that they're sick and they need to be given a week off, or given 2 weeks off, or given a month off to go and rest, and they're not sick, stuff like that. And then if you don't do that, then they go and report to a politician and say, "Listen, me, I'm unwell, and this guy's refused to give me medical help." So it's basically packaged like you're not providing the services you should be providing. So of course, we knew this had been happening, and already there was a lot of talk in the society and community about this new doctor who's come and is messing up things for us are the politicians, us are some of the directors who were quite corrupt, us are some of the staff who did not want to do certain things within the policy, and they would come in and expect to either intimidate me into bending the policies for them or breaking the policies for them. And then if I don't, of course, then they would go around to my back, or other round to politicians, and get me threatened. And I received quite a number of calls from politicians. I received a number of calls even at night from senior directors in the company who were sending their people, or whose people had gone and reported that they needed something done, and this doctor had refused to do it. So can they talk to me? Basically intimidate me. And I was getting SMS, and I'm like, "Listen, put it in an email. Just put it in an email. I'm happy to oblige or figure out, or let's put it in an email. Then we see how we can work within the policy and do whatever it is that you want me to do." That was not a very good a very good thing for them. And yeah, so that was traumatizing in itself. Always watching your back, everything. I had eyes in the back of my head. I lived next to the hospital. Literally, it was just, you walk out of the hospital along the fence, and you take a right turn, and you're at my house. It was a walk of about 4 minutes, a slow walk, 2.5 minutes fast walk. By car, of course, it was probably a minute, but I would drive for not less than an hour when especially going home in the evening from work, I would drive around town for almost an hour and a half hour so that I make sure nobody was following me to the house. Then go home and park and tell the watchman if anybody seems to be coming this way, I didn't expect anyone, then let me know before so that I know what to do. I don't know what I would have done because I only had one gate. So if they were coming for me, what would I have done? Probably drive through the fence. No idea. Yeah, that's what I went through for about 9 months, and then went back for again another humanitarian mission, another stint. Now about now 1.5 years. I did half a year initially. No, I did about a year in Liberia. Took a break, did Unilever, then went back for another year, 1.5 years or so. Another 1.5 years. So yeah, it was a total of 3 years in West Africa. So I went back to Sierra Leone, of course, again, the Ebola thing, doing a lot of work. And of course, there's always a fear that, you'll touch something, touch someone, get Ebola. Came back again. So no psychological support. That system did not exist. There's always this talk about there's a wellness program, there's a wellness thing, there's someone who can have some discussions. You're never able to meet them. They're far away in another city, or when they come in, they're busy, and they never came in anyway. So policies might be in place, systems might sometimes be in place, but I've never seen them work. So after Ebola, I began asking every place I would go to, South Sudan, whether it was WHO, Health Food Fund, American Refugee Committee, which is now called ALIGHT. I went to Ukraine, Medical Teams International. Again with Ukraine, I was at MDM Germany, World Health Organization in the Eastern Mediterranean Regional Office, where now I was supporting Gaza. I would always ask from the very beginning in meetings and every single place that I'm like, yeah, this is all amazing. You guys we are doing a great job. We're supporting the community. We're supporting the people. We have all these programs. And I see that there's mental health support for the community. And I say it's good. However, where is the mental support for us? Then people start talking about, there's help the helper, there's all this and that. And I'm like, where is it? I know there's all this, but where is it? Tangibly. Who is doing it? Who is running it? Whom can I call now when I begin to crash and ask for help? Well, we're going to share with you contacts. Never shared. Or we're going to share with you some documents. I don't want documents. Listen, I don't want documents. I want there to be somebody that when I am collapsing, I can run to. I don't even mention this. I think I may have talked about this, but very recently, when I was supporting the Gaza project, with World Health Organization, I was in the emergency medical team coordination cell, EMTCC. Basically, our work as WHO was to mentor, prepare, work with, and coordinate international emergency medical teams who needed to go into Gaza, wanted to go into Gaza to support the people of Gaza during the crisis, during the war. And basically coordinate that whole system, make sure everything is okay, vet them, confirm that they know what they're doing, help them understand the policies, share with them the guiding documents, and of course now then do the coordination through now UN OCHA with the Israeli authorities to get them vetted, processed, and allowed to enter. Many times then there are organizations or individuals that were not allowed to enter. That will be for another day. So among these international medical team staff, there were some very good, very, very amazing medics, very amazing people, professionals from different countries. They were from everywhere, from different countries, who are willing to go into Gaza and support, willing to go in for 2 weeks. But of course, we'll talk about how why 2 weeks sometimes it don't work. It first of all took 2 weeks to process all this stuff. I mean, by the time they would need to apply 2 weeks in advance, then we applied 1.5 weeks in advance for them, waited for the vetting process to come back, but then the feedback on who has been approved to enter and who has not been approved to enter would come the night before the day they're supposed to enter. So they would go in. There were 2 entries or exit days. That was Tuesday and Thursday. Sometimes it would change depending on whether things were bad. There was a lot of fighting the borders, or a lot of fighting inside Gaza, for example, and or just for whatever reason, security reasons. That's what it was, security reasons. the Israeli authorities did not allow for the teams to enter or for the teams to exit. But most of the time it was for security reasons, safety reasons, because things were quite hot at some given times. So so it took 2 weeks to process entry or even exit. Even exit had to be applied for 2 weeks in advance, and then it was vetted. And of course, sometimes people are denied exit for whatever reasons. So we were processing, so we were able to see, we were able to vet, we were able to like review the CVs, review the people who were coming in, and we knew some of the cadres were really, really high, like really specialized, super, super specialized, and with experience of many years. And some teams would be like, we want to bring in so and so because there's this particular condition or this particular type of injury that we're seeing, and we want to bring in this person, and they have 30 years of experience in the emergency settings in their facilities, not emergency settings in humanitarian settings, but in facilities in the A&E and all that kind of stuff. And they've done this and they've done the kind of surgery, and they share with us the documents and the CVs and some of the reports. Somebody fixed back an arm, fixed back a finger, neck surgeons, and all these kind of things. They were amazing people. So a number of times we received very, very strong candidates, and we allowed them to go in, and we negotiated for them to go in for like 2-3 weeks. But anyway, most of the time it was 4 weeks minimum stay, and then you come out. So for the 2 weeks processing, 2 weeks processing for exit, and then there's enough time for that. And of course, again, the convoys were not very big, because most of the time only armored vehicles were allowed to drive within some particular areas, especially where the services are being offered, and especially at entry and exit towards the border and away from the border of Gaza. That is, initially it was Rafah, and then now eventually it became Kerem Shalom. So because of that, we had limited spaces for emergency medical teams that we were coordinating, because other organizations, other major, even the UN itself had quite a huge amount of stuff going in and out. So this one time, this really, really amazing doctor went in on a Thursday. You arrive in the evening, you travel the whole day, arrive in the evening, whatever, 9, 10, sometimes in the night, take your dinner, sleep, and then start work the next day. So Friday morning, goes to work, things are okay. Is there's an explosion, a missile exploding every hour, basically. Gunshots are almost every minute. Drones are overhead 24 hours. And probably, I don't know if I'll remember to add to this video the sounds of the drones and the quadcopters. That was so annoying. The quadcopters flew quite low, and sometimes they'll just come and fly outside your window for a whole hour. At 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, you do not sleep. It's an annoying sound. Annoying. Let's say annoying, whichever. That one, it's pisses you off, because it has woken you up. You barely even sleep from the explosions anyway. So this guy is there doing his work the whole day. There's a way you can block out the normal hourly explosion and the normal every minute gunshots. I mean, they're there. I was telling somebody, gunshots are like, that's commonplace. Gunshots are like, whatever. It's like a phone ringing, or it's like crickets screaming out there doing their thing. What was more worrisome was an explosion, when it shook your whole building, or shook the whole office, or shook the whole apartment, or shook the whole place, and you're not sure where the next one will fall. Now that was scary. That is scary even today. He's doing his job the whole day. Everything is okay. I think like 7 p.m. ish, things take a turn for the worse. A missile hits the gate of the health facility where they're working. And of course, a ballistic missile is not one of the best missiles you want to experience. There'll be another story for that. It's not a good experience at all. None of them are good experiences anyway, but not a good experience. So it hits, shakes the whole place. You see fire all over the place. It hits near the gate. Of course, when I say the gate of the hospital, it means there are tents with IDPs, internally displaced persons, all over the place near the health facility, because that's where they would live. Their homes had been destroyed. They'd come this way to escape fighting wherever they'd come to. And the intents that are around health facilities. So when they're sick, they just walk into the facility. Sometimes we had patients who had recovered a bit better. There were no spaces in the facility, so they would go to the tents outside there. So it hits near the gate. Obviously, it has hit a tent or a number of tents. And of course, now with the blast, it destroys a lot of other terms, and so hits, blast, everything is shaking, everything is scary, it's loud, and then suddenly, of course, as usual, mass casualty. So people begin coming in. So this shook him. The explosion. You can guess where I'm coming from. The explosion hit. It shook him to his core. Before he recovered, people begin streaming in, are being brought in, people are running in, and they're bloody, and people are coming in pieces, some in pieces, some, like have lost limbs, and it is in hundreds, okay, in tens at least. And it's huge numbers at the same time. Children, women, old people, young people, whatever the age groups are being brought in from the tents by people, and it's chaos and everybody screaming. And it took him about 5-10 minutes of this, which he had never seen in his 30-40 years of experience, and his brain broke. You talk about broken souls, his soul broke. It broke immediately, and the next thing, all he could do was begin sending messages. Get me out of here now, please. It's dangerous for me. They're going to kill me. For him, it was targeting him. I guess that's what his mind told him. That trauma was intense. And he wasn't even sending the messages to his team who were with him in Gaza, and not even to his team in Jordan, in Amman, or his team in whichever country he came from. I don't mention the country because people might guess who it is. He was sending them to us, the Cairo team. We didn't, we used to communicate with them because I was the one doing the briefings with my colleague, Dr. Osam, who was my senior. He was the coordinator, I was the deputy coordinator in Cairo. They had our contacts. They had our contacts at the end of the presentation, which we were doing a lot, but I was the one who was mainly doing it every single week. So the messages were coming to us from him, and the first message came in: "Please get me out of here. My life is in danger. They're going to kill me. I need to get out now." Getting out now is never possible with Gaza. It's never possible to get out now. Similarly, getting out now from Ukraine is not possible. There's a whole process, and it's lengthy. It's lengthy and tedious. So we are receiving messages. We have no idea what's happening. We're in Cairo. He is in Gaza. So we begin making calls. What's happening? What's going on? And then we're told, yeah, there was a hit near the facility, mass casualties, and this guy has broken. So in his mind, we are the ones who coordinated his entry. We will coordinate his exit, so we probably have the ability to get him out immediately. Unfortunately, we didn't. We don't. You never do. All the power is in the hands of the authorities. The authorities being the Israeli military, who are, of course, manning the borders, and they are the ones who approve entry and exit. So this guy sends messages and messages. So we are coordinating with his team, and he is coordinating with us in his trauma, in his fear, in his need to get out as quickly as he can. So we have this whole up and down, and of course we begin doing the requests, we begin begging and sending coordination documentation, and it took days. It took days. He had to be removed from where he was, the guest house, which was within the health facility where he was, because he was not functioning. He was crashing. He had crash outs. It was bad. Took him to the UN guest house, which was probably just getting him out of his quote unquote normal environment. Took him to the UN guest house, attached to him a psychologist. 24 hours, he was still crashing out. So we are doing all these coordination processes. We are making the requests, and of course, then the next exit, it's now Friday. The next exit, the closest exit, is Tuesday, the next week. However, that had already been approved, and the list was set. And they're limited seats. Remember, they're limited seats, probably maximum 12 seats. I think, and we had that time, I think maybe 7 seats only, and they were full. So eventually we did the coordination through UN OCHA, and the authorities accepted that he can leave. However, they were saying he can leave pending your possibility of getting him a seat on the convoy. So we had to beg the other organizations, kindly, you guys know what is happening. I mean, Gaza is small. The number of people who are responding as international staff are not very many, probably maximum up to 100. So they know what's happening among themselves at any given time, most of the time. They were like, guys, we have an appeal for you. There's this gentleman who really needs to leave. It's bad. We would like to request whoever is able to kindly just step down from this convoy. We'll put you into the next closest convoy, which will be the next Thursday of the next week after the Tuesday. So kindly. So eventually, one of the organizations said, yeah, we have a staff who is willing to stand down so that we get this guy onto the convoy out. So this was not the only one. There had been some before that, and there were some after that. So I'm hearing this my second day after joining WHO, that this is happening, and I'm like, by the way, I had a question, and I'd been asking this even in the interviews. I had a question, and I need to just find out what are the systems in place for mental health support for these teams that we are coordinating to go in and out of Gaza. What are they? And there were none. There were none. Uh, there was a concept note which had been on somebody's shelf in a computer, in a SharePoint, and it was lying there. It just could not be implemented for whatever reason. And Hussam, you, Hussam and the team were like, David, now that you mentioned that, you take it over. Take it over and run with it. Like, cool. I've done this before, so let's do this. So yeah, let's do this. I took it over. And of course, we were able to work, of course, with Hussam and the colleagues in the EMTCC, specifically Cairo, and we were able to put together, like work out how to get external counselors. We reached out to some counselors that had shown interest in supporting, not for free, but at least supporting whenever they were needed. So they would be on standby online because, of course, they couldn't go into Gaza. We didn't expect the people to come out of Gaza. As you see, you've heard the process is very tedious to get in and get out. So then they were on reach. They were reachable whenever needed by the teams. And later they reported and said, yeah, we've been talking to teams. There are teams who have contracted them on a regular basis. Every exit they talk to them. Sometimes pre-entry, during, and post mission. So that was kind of helpful. But again, the problem is most organizations do not have systems in place for this kind of thing, for mental health support, and it's very important. And that's what I've been pushing for years. And I always say I'll make noise and continue making noise until something happens. And the other day on Dr. A Quick One podcast, Dr. Fessa was like, yeah, maybe. I said I might take it up and put something together. And he was like, yeah, be the change you want. And yeah, who knows? I'm thinking of that very, very, very seriously. Well, if I get money soon, or when I get money, hopefully, I'll enroll into a mental health kind of course for emergency settings because I've been in it. So it will be easy for me to figure out how to support my colleagues, whether it's in humanitarian missions or emergency responders or military or whatever it's going to be. I'll work on that. Hopefully, I don't know. I don't know what's in the cards for me because again, I'm waiting for another mission soon. So this has been consistent. Where I've noticed that there are very few, if any, kinds of programs that have mental health support for emergency responders. There are psychologists, thank you. There are counselors, thank you. There are therapists, thank you. There are psychiatrists, thank you. There are mental health experts, thank you. There are mental health support teams and individuals, thank you. But there's nothing proactive being done by mental health personnel who have been in missions, who understand what the missions are, who understands what happens in there, who, when you tell, listen, I can't sleep, I just can't sleep, they'll understand what I can't sleep means. Because sometimes you can't explain what I can't sleep means, but they might understand what I can't sleep means and help you walk through why you can't sleep. Remember I talked about in traumas and triggers too, about how I was just in pain in Russia. I was just in pain. I didn't know, but I was just in pain. I don't know whether it was physical. I didn't know it was physical. It was mental. I was just hurting. I had no clue. I had no one to talk to. I had no one to reach out to. I also don't talk much. This is now me talking the most. I don't talk to anybody when I'm struggling with stuff. I will tell you after it happened and after I fixed it, or after I didn't fix it, like months later, years later. I'll tell you about all this. I'm telling you like several months after, and some of them are years, some of them are decades after. Then I can talk when I've already converted them into a script. Sorry. So, yeah, I've not seen. There are policies, there are probably one or two organizations or one or two people who are doing it, but they're few and widely spread. So, that is the conclusion of Broken Souls. A call to action for mental health support, proactive mental health support for all responders. And I keep repeating, especially for national teams, for national staff, who sometimes have nowhere to go, have nowhere to run to, have nobody to run to. And even if they're running to somebody, that somebody is also with them in the same predicament. So who is helping who? Who is supporting who? Who is carrying whose burden? That's something that we need to look at, and that's something that I'm going to continue making noise about for a long time. So I'm sorry, as I'm offloading to you, I'm sorry that you'll hear a lot about mental health support. So, where was I going with this? What was the initial part of the story? The initial story that I wanted to talk to you about today in my traumas and triggers part 3 is how my mother, that was rude. But that was rude. That was rude. Hey, it's old people. Old people of today have no respect for the young ones. Mom, ni vile tu she can't hear me. Not because she's deaf. She's dead. That rhymed. She's not deaf, she's dead. Anyway, yeah. So mom passed away a number of years ago. Was it 2011? 2011. I remember it was a very weird experience. I'll talk about mom now because that's something that I walked through that journey. Let me say I walked through the journey till she passed away in my hands. So this one time I'm in Mombasa. I was working for the AFIA 2. I think it was AFIA 2, the AFIA 2 project before, AFIA Plus, I can't remember, AFIA 2 I think. My boss, wonderful Ndagitali bila manzalau. One day I'll tell you about Ndagitali bila manzalau. Ndagitali bila manzalau, Margaret Lubale. Thank you so much for being a wonderful boss and a wonderful friend. So supported me through this process. So this one morning, my mom passed away at was 75, 78 years. So she wasn't young. But she was fine when she passed away. She was healthy, she was okay, she wasn't sick. However, there were times before that, like over the years, especially after she hit 65 going to 70, she would suddenly fall like really sick. And I was not moved when she was, I was moved of course, but I wasn't worried. Marcia, my younger sister, who was with her in Kisumu, and she was at home in Uridi game. My mom was at home in Uridi game and at our home. Marcia lived in Kisumu, so Marcia would keep me posted, like every time mom was sick or things were happening. So she would send me a message, "Oh, mom is very sick. She's admitted in hospital." I'm like, don't worry, she'll be fine. I didn't even bother going. I would call mom and call around and give my medical advice, talk to the doctor, we exchange ideas and brainstorm together what to do for her. And eventually she's fine. A week later, she's back home. So this happened a number of times, not very many times, but a number of times. Then at some point she had a bad injury. She was hit by a border rider, a bicycle border rider who was riding downhill fast with huge sacks of maize or whatever it is on the carrier at the back, and he lost control and just drove into my mom, and we thought she had a hip fracture. We managed to get her all the way to Nyeri. She came to Nyeri. Dr. Muyembe, thank you so much. Dr. Muyembe, orthopedic surgeon, he's the one who took care of my mom. He said, let mama yetu happen, let mama yetu, bring our mom here, I will treat her. They did x-rays in the facility where she was at home. They thought there was a fracture. They saw a fracture. We brought her all the way to Nyeri. He treated her personally. He did another x-ray. He looked at the x-ray. He said, no, this looks like an artifact. It's just something, I don't know what it was, that was that showed up on the film. It wasn't a fracture. We did another x-ray. He said, no, there's no fracture here, but of course there's the inflammation and some serious kind of injury to the nerves. So she was treated in Nyeri. She stayed with us for about 3-4 weeks. Angel, my firstborn daughter, was born around the same time, so that's why she is called Leo. She was going to be called Leo anyway. My late mom was called Leonora. That's why Angel is Leo. Leo for Lioness. She was our firstborn. She's our firstborn, and we really treasure that. We treasure all our children, the 3 of them, but we treasure that experience with Leo. And of course, so my mom was there, so she met Leo first. She met her namesake first, which was a good experience. I remember that very nostalgically. Today is a day of nostalgia, isn't it? This and then my mom. So my mom was the original story, and then I remember these other trauma things. So I'm saying this because I keep saying this. We go into the mission field with our own already original trauma that we have from home, from our life, and then we go in with that, and then we go and collect more trauma, and we're talking to people and seeing the situation, carrying even more, and then at some point we break. Hence broken souls. We break, and someone needs to keep fixing us and gluing us back together. So when we go back, we crack a bit and we come back and we're fixed. So mom was with us. Eventually she went back. Dr. Muyembe treated her very well, and she went back home. It was amazing being with her. So this one time, now I'm in Mombasa. Over the years, I told you, I mean, she would be sick. She would like really sick. I wasn't moved in terms of needing to rush to go and see her. So this time I'm in Mombasa. And Marcia sends me a message saying, yo, mom is unwell, a bit unwell. Mom is a bit unwell. Now my mom was with her in Kisumu, with Marcia in Kisumu. She's like, yeah, my mom is a bit unwell. She's been here for like a week, just visiting us, but she's a bit unwell. Yesterday she threw up, and she said she had a bit of a fever. That's all that had happened to her. Nothing else. She just threw up and had a bit of a fever. And I don't know what it was that day, and it was the night. It was an evening when this message came in. So I called, I spoke to mom. She was like, I'm fine, relax, I'm fine. Kwani, what's up? I'm okay. And spoke to her, spoke to Marcia. There was nothing really. She just threw up. A bit of fever. She took paracetamol and she was fine. Remember, paracetamol alleviates fever, yes or no? So it alleviated. But there was just something heavy after this conversation. Actually, from the SMS. Forget the conversation from the SMS. No, it was the morning of my trip that the call came in, and I was just preparing to go to work. When the call came in, it wasn't the night before, it was the morning. But the night before, I had just this heavy feeling the whole night. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was bothering me. But there was just something that I felt uncomfortable. I didn't sleep well. So waking up, preparing for work, and I was dragging my feet. I just didn't feel like going to work. I couldn't get over this feeling I had the whole night. So this call comes in, the message comes in. I call my sister. She's like, yeah, mom puked last night, and we gave her paracetamol. She's fine now. She's cool. I talked to mom. Mom was like, Jana, relax. Nothing's up. How are you? But I just felt, Well, that you have this intuition, and you're like, no, something is amiss. I don't know what it is. You can't place a finger, but something was amiss. And as I'm dressing up, I just kept feeling heavier and heavier. Whatever it was, I don't know. And by the time I was ready to go to work, half an hour later, I made a decision that I'm not going to work. I will travel home. So I'm in Mombasa, mom is in Kisumu. I just called my boss. Ndakitali bila manzala. Ndakitali, naomba luza tafadhali. I need to go home. Home where? Kisumu. She's like, what's up? I'm like, mom is a bit unwell, but I'm feeling uneasy. I mean, she was unwell last night. She's okay today, but I'm feeling uneasy. And thank you, Maggie. Thank you. Margaret said, you know what? You get ready, do your thing, put your request in the system at some point. You see online on your phone, yeah. Put your request in the system and go and see mom. 2-3 days you'll be back. Cool. I began looking for a bus to book. It's now like 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning. Getting a bus for some reason decided to be impossible. I searched. The first bus out was around 2 p.m. So eventually I got onto that bus. Now I was supposed to get to Nairobi, then from Nairobi to Kisumu. So I booked the next bus from now Nairobi to Kisumu. And as fate would have it, buses decide that this is the day that they want to delay. This is the day that they will delay. Whatever. That's not the song, but that's the song I've decided it is today. So they decide, yeah, we are going to delay. So they stop, and I don't know, there's a puncture, and there's a problem, and it decides that now the gears will not work, and we just dragged, and we were getting into Nairobi 8:30 p.m. The bus from Nairobi to Kisumu was 9 p.m. So they're already calling me, hey, where are you? I'm on the way. Then traffic jam decides. In fact, Mombasa Road. This was way before the superhighway the expressway was built. It wasn't even in thought. I think it was still in somebody's loins somewhere. So They call, and I'm texting and I'm calling. I'm like, I'll be there by 9. I will be there by 9. And I'm here praying and I'm thinking, should I get off and take a border? But no, I can't get a motorbike. It's night. It's now 8:45. The jam decides it will now be blueband and peanut butter. And we parked for quite a while, but eventually we just made it. 5 to 9 I made it, and I was running. The bus dropped us where we were dropped, and I just took off. If someone decided I was a thief, they would have killed me that day. I just took off running, breakneck speed. Got to the bus. I'm like, they go up, let me pick up. He said, oh, thank you. Got onto the bus, but that weight refused to leave. That weight was just there throughout. I guess that's what was really messing me up. Got to Kisumu the next day, the next morning, 4:30 in the morning. So my late adoptive brother Duncan is one who came to pick me. So Duncan came to the bus, whatever, office, picked me, and I'm like, yeah, so Duncan, what's up with mom? He's like, mom is fine, she's okay, but then she's had this weird thing she's been doing the last few weeks. So when mom went to visit, she had this weird thing. She would wake up in the morning, she's like, hey, my son, my daughter, now to Duncan and Marcia, my son, my daughter. Me today won't end with me being here. I won't be alive by the end of the day. Then I came, now what are these jokes? What are jokes? What are these jokes? And she kept saying every single morning, she'd be like, I won't see night. Then she sees night. Then they're like, you see what you said, you're not going to anywhere. She's like, I won't wake up tomorrow morning. She wakes up. So it kept happening for like 3 weeks, and she kept insisting on saying it. And like, so this morning again, so it's because it's Duncan who she would always call Duncan to help her, like, she was advancing in age. And now, since the injury on her leg, we had to, like, sometimes she would wake up with pain for whatever reason, so that would get on a wheelchair, move around, just within the house. And then when she was going out, she was okay, she would limp pole and do her stuff. So she would wake him up and, hey, Duncan, take me to the loo or whatever. So he would drive her with the wheelchair. She would get up, go in, and come back and sit. And she was just enjoying life. She was enjoying being driven around on her wheelchair in the house. So this morning again, she had woken up before I got. No, wait. This morning I arrived at 4, so she hadn't done her drive to the loo. So I was like, yeah, mother keeps saying this. She keeps insisting she'll die. And we keep making fun. And my mom is actually, she's very sarcastic, and she was very sarcastic and hilarious. She was just a comedian. So yeah, Duncan picks me and we're talking. It's a very short drive, and of course at 4 in the morning there are no cars, so much shorter. We get home around 4:20ish, and I walk in and my mom is awake, sitting on the bed. She's like, oh, my son, you're here. I'm like, yeah, mom, I'm here. What's up? She's like, no. I'm like, why are you awake so early? She's like, yeah, I know, I couldn't sleep very well, so I just woke up and I was just chilling here, waiting. I was waiting for you. Oh, she said, I've been waiting for you. You've been waiting for you? She said, I've been waiting for you. So I walked into the room, and now this is the weird part, and something that hit me way later when I was not doing this book, when I started writing the book. When I was about to finish the book, when I was doing the chapter where I talk about my mom's departure. I walked into the room and there was this feeling of doom. And I kept brushing it off. I was like, nah. And then also, there's something I mentioned in the book. There's a particular scent I had picked in hospitals when a patient had passed away, around where the patient was. There was a very distinct scent. I don't know whether anybody else has ever had it in a medical career or in life, but I, for some reason, I remember this from Meru, and I never understood what it was. But this particular day, I walked into the room and that scent was there. And I was like, am I hallucinating? What's going on? What's happening? I brushed it off. So I'm talking to her, mom, how are you? Why are you waiting for me? She's like, I wanted to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming. And we were chatting. I'm looking into her eyes, and my mom did not have cataracts. But for some reason, she looked like she had cataracts. And I wasn't even sure she was seeing me. I kept thinking, and I even thought she was just reacting to my voice. I don't know, but she looked. Wait, don't cry. No crying today. Wewe umesikia? Kuna kulia. Unikilia na shauri yako. So I'm talking to mom, but watching her and studying her, and it wasn't making sense. That feeling of darkness is in the room. The room was feeling weird. The light was on, but it wasn't really on for me. This sense of doom was in the room with us. This scent in this room only. It wasn't in the house. It was just in this room where mom was, and it's there. And we're talking, and she's like, you know what? You go rest. We'll catch up when I wake up. So this is like going to now 5:30. We've been talking. So I'm making a cool, mom. So I'll see you later. Yeah, she's like, okay, cool. I go into the next room. Not it's a 2-bedroom apartment. So I go into the next room and I lay my head because I mean that whole trip was quite tiresome. So I'm sleeping, and at 6, I think 6:05, she calls out for me. I hear, Ben, water, my son, come. So I get up. I'm like, hey, mom is calling me. See, I came all the way for her. So mom is calling me. I went into her room. I sat down. I'm like, yeah, so what's up, mom? She's like, hey, by the way, my son, you're thin. So I think she was seeing me. You're thin. See, hey, you've not been eating. Ebu Marcia to make for you. Tell Marcia to make for you some porridge. Because, hey, yeah, you're just bones and skin. So I walk out, tell Marcia, see, my mom says you make for me porridge. So me, I don't know, but she told me to instruct you, make for me porridge. So I need to eat, I'm thin. So I walk back to mom and we're chatting, and she's cracking jokes and we're laughing. Then she sighs and tells me, hey, my son, I was waiting for you. Thank you for coming. Let me rest now. Let me rest. And the way she said it was, it was like a final goodbye. I said, okay, cool, mom. See, where you rest. I was sitting on the bed right next to her. I'm like, yeah, you rest, then we'll catch up later. She's like, yeah, let me rest. And she lay down. So I'm watching her lying down. And that thing of water is coming, is trying to come. It's here. Why does it form here and then it comes? Is it like it? So that's why I said yesterday, swallow it. Right? Swallow my tears. So she lies down, and I'm watching her, and the feeling, the weight suddenly increases, and I look at her, and I'm like, I see she's not. I'm like, mom. So I shake her, and there's no response. It hits me immediately, something is very wrong. So that time I was still an ordained pastor. Of course, I'm a doctor. So I go into prayer. So no, I don't go into prayer mode immediately. We had prayed with her when I walked in and stuff like that. So I look at her and I notice her tongue is sticking out. And I'm like, hey, mom has never slept like this. This is a new one. This is a new style of sleeping. So I'm like, mom, I'm shaking. And then he hits me. Hey, this lady is trying to do that thing. I'm like, Ebu, so I lay her on her back. I'm like, mom, wake up. What's happening? And I remember saying, mom, I came all the way to see you. What are you doing? Ebu, don't do this thing. Ebu, what are you trying? That was my conversation with her. I'm like, mom, you can't do this to me. You cannot do this to me. So I'm saying, I'm keeping my voice low so that my sister doesn't hear. Maybe she's hearing this for the first time, and I think she read some of it in the book. So I'm like, mom, you can't do this to me. So I lay her on her back, and it was a firm bed, so I was able to. So now doctor mode kicks in, and I start doing resuscitation, nothing, and I've checked her pupils, not reacting to light. Dilated, not reacting to light. So that's not a good sign at all, ever. So I'm here resuscitating, nothing is on here, and I'm like, Duncan, Marcia, call Duncan. So Duncan had gone out to buy milk and bread for breakfast. So he drove out in mom's car. So his mom back, so Marcia rushes in. She's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, no. Mom is feeling unwell. I need us to take her to hospital. I think Marcia knew, but because she saw what I was doing, so she knew, but she didn't know. Or she knew, but she didn't want to say. Or make me panic. So I'm like, mom, so I'm trying to resuscitate, nothing is happening. Kick into pastor mode now. So I'm pastor mode, I'm praying as I'm doing whatever. I'm praying whatever I could think, and I'm here rebuking and doing whatever. Nothing is happening, and Duncan drives back, and she's like, hey, mom is unwell. Ebu, go and help Ben get mom, take her to hospital. So we quickly agree with that guy, we need to take mom to hospital, and some say, I'm going to return the car so that we just put and we zip off. Yo. Have things decided that things are happening? Duncan had just parked, came out with the milk running because Marcia was shouting at him to run to me to help mom. Dropped the milk and the bread on the table or wherever he dropped it. Came to me, I told him da 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 da. He goes back to the car, tries to turn it on. The car was like, he's like, what the? And he's like, he comes running back. He's like, man, the car's defused. I'm like, ask a neighbor. Our neighbor has a car, had a car, which was okay, had no problems at all. Knocks the door. Hey, mom is, because they knew mom very well. Your mom is, mom was a loving woman. She just drew people towards her. People just gravitated to her. She's just lovely. She's the reason why I got into charity, because she used to work for Child Welfare Society of Kenya, and we always had a baby at home almost every week. A new baby. I thought I had siblings coming in and going out. I couldn't understand why my siblings used to come in and come and disappear. Why mom was giving birth and then disappearing. The kids she was helping children who were abandoned or whatever the case was. So I guess that kind of like got me to a charitable kind of lifestyle. Same to my dad, and Gladys, my elder sister, picked that also. Marcy, of course, picked that, and that's just how we are. So Duncan goes banging the door. Hey, mom is unwell. Come and help us. We need to take her to hospital. Our car's not working. So the guy goes out, gets into the car, and hi, what's going on? Let's push the car. Push. Nothing. The car is dead. So we call my sister-in-law. We're like, Monica, please come. Mom is unwell. And her car, for some reason, is just also decides, by the way, me today. Today is the day that cars have industrial action. So we are not going anywhere. So she's trying wherever she is, and eventually her car started. By the time it started, it was like 10-15 minutes later. Then Duncan went to try mom's car again, and it started. By this time, mom already had gone, like gone, bye, see you later. So I know she's gone, but I don't know she's gone. At that particular moment in my mind, I'm like, she cannot gone to where? For why? So of course the car turns on, and we quickly rush her, put her into the car, into the front seat, and I'm holding her from behind, and we are going to hospital. We rush, we get to Aga Khan, Kisumu, and we park there, and we're like, oh, please help us. Doctors rush out from the A&E, and they come and check her, they check her, and I could see the like, oh, hey, this one, yeah, man. So the doc comes to me and is like, hey, I'm Dr. David Osambla, this is my mother, I did this. He's like, but doc, I'm like, no, do not but doc me, do not but, there are no buts. You have a bat, I have a bat, we all have bats, but there are no bats now. The bat B-U-T-T. No bats now. Me, I don't want to hear those things. Do not tell me that stupid thing. You fix my mom. You fix my, that's what I told her. You fix my mom. Resuscitate my mother. Fix her. I am not a doctor now. I am her son. Fix my mother. Apologies. You have become a crybaby. Is it now that I'm mourning after all these years? Yeah, so I tell you, fix my mom. He's like, oh, you're not a doctor? Okay, so step aside. So code whatever, I can't remember, was it code blue, whatever it was, go in code blue, whatever. People rush out, they put on a stretcher, go with her, they're like, you wait. As I tried following them, like, hey, this is only for medical personnel, stay outside. And we were stay outside. So he goes in, they do whatever they're doing, and of course, mother was like, see me, I've checked out of this thing of yours. Before the economy gets to us, me, I'm gone. So yeah, then after several minutes of them doing whatever they were doing, he walks out, and then I can see him walking out. So by this time, my sister-in-law had come, and some other people had come, my cousins, a few cousins who, my nieces and nephews who were in the house with us, and have come. They're like, oh, they had mommy sick. When you hear mommy was sick, people would gather. Again, mom was a force, a gravitational force for good. So people would just flock. So I hadn't noticed people that come behind me, because me had blocked. I think some of my mind blocked out everything around me. So the doctor walks out. He comes and says, hey, Doctor, please a minute. So I walk to him and I know what he's going to say. I know it. Accept. I was accepting it, but not accepting it. So he comes and says, "Hey, doctor, um, are you now a doctor?" I say, "Yes." He says, "You knew?" I say, "Yes, I knew." And he says, "Yeah, um, I'm sorry, but mom is gone. Mom is gone." So I didn't tell everybody, other people. So I said, okay, let me go see her before I tell anybody. So I walk into the room, the emergency room. So everybody is cleared out. So the doctor says, yeah, here she is. Can I have a minute with her? I remember walking into the room. I saw this round clock-like object on the wall. Later, it turned into the BP machine. What is it called? The monitor screen. No, it was a manual BP machine. So that the dial. So I saw that above mom's head, and in my mind, I'm thinking, why is this clock not working? What's wrong with this clock? Why would did it stop when she stopped, or what happened? So in my mind, it was a clock, and I'm thinking, damn, this clock is weird. Then as I'm looking at her, I'm looking at this clock, and I just felt peace, and I went over, kissed her forehead, said, "Mom, goodbye." Yeah, said a prayer. Don't know why I said a prayer. Said a prayer, and yeah. So you see, I don't know if you can see this the tattoo there. I don't know if you can see it. Philippians 4:7. So um, as I was talking to her and saying bye, I had in my mind peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding. I couldn't remember where I'd had that before. I couldn't remember where I'd read it before, if I'd ever read it before. But that's what I had. That's what came to me. I went and searched, and I found this is Philippians 4:7. That's why I have it here, because this was in memory of mom. So yeah, yeah, and also I don't know if you can see the dove up here again. Yeah, in memory of mom. The peace that I needed, the peace that I received that morning, and I just said, you know what, mom, it's okay. I didn't even cry. Maybe that's why I'm crying today. I didn't cry. I didn't break nothing, and I told them, okay, cool, thank you very much. Yeah, you do your thing, and then I walked out, and I just walked out. I wasn't smiling, but I wasn't sad. I wasn't crying. I just walked out. I'm like, hey, boo. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so, yeah, like, hey, hi, Monica, my sister-in-law. Hi, whoever you are. They're like, hey, what's up with mom? I'm like, yeah, mom fell suddenly ill. We needed to bring her here. And the doctors have tried, and unfortunately, they've told me, mama's gone. So now, of course, pandemonium is breaking around me. I'm not hearing it. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear the screams. I saw movement. I saw people's eyes dripping water, stuff coming out of them, leaking. I saw that, but I didn't hear anything. So anyway, long story short, mom just decided, me, I'm sleeping, and I'm gone. Mom, that was rude. That was rude. You travel all the way. Do you know how tough it was to get to you? Then you decide now you are checking out. Turns out, apparently, wait, before I talk about the apparently. This thing of people coming to you and they're like, how did she die? He said so last week. Guy, didn't check it last week, Buddha. I was with her. I told people, listen, I was with her, talking, laughing. Then she lay down and never woke up. Which last week? I don't know if there's this feeling of wanting to show how you're close to the person, or is it a feeling of wanting to tell the person who is grieving how I don't know what are we trying to show off by hours? But I saw her last month. Someone was saw her last month. How could she die? I saw her last month. How could she die? I saw her last year. How could she die? I just saw her last week. How could she? I just saw her yesterday. I'm like, nigga, please. Nigga, please, nigga, please. We were sitting with her in the room, talking. She was not sick. And then she decided, me, see, query. So that thing, please don't telling people I just saw her. Say I just talked to her. She said I just called her on the phone. So how could she die? How could he? You go and ask her, how could he? Me, I asked her when she was there, could he? And I'm like, how could you? Why are you doing this to me? Unaenda wapi? Nimekuja, hebu ngoja. Ni unaenda? So, anyway, so it turns out now my sister was telling me, Marcia was telling me that apparently the 2 weeks prior she had just been summoning her grandchildren, summoning her nephews and nieces within Kisumu, summoning relatives, summoning those that were close to her, anybody who was able to come. She had talked to Gladys at length on phone that week. So she knew, this lady knew. Because I remember I told you the moment I arrived, she said, oh, you've arrived, my son. I was waiting for you. And it hit me in a different way. I was waiting for you. Why were you waiting for me? I was the one person she had not met after meeting everybody else. So she had just basically been telling everybody bye. So she was waiting for me. And I arrived. And she was like, yo, it's been real. This economy will not finish me. Yes, so that's how mom went. So mom went, we did the processes, we buried her, and of course, so carried all that inside. I think I kind of had a small crash out just after we laid her to rest, after we buried her. A tiny one, tiny. Didn't cry much before, didn't even cry much after. The small crash out was, I just wanted to go and sleep. Went to sleep. Didn't want to talk to anybody that whole night. Woke up the next morning, life continued. I've been carrying that, since 2011. Anyway, so yeah, that's how mom went. So the gist of the story is, we carry those. After we've completed the processes, we go back to work, go back to seeing patients, go back to hearing how this patient has been suffering, or how their family has been suffering, or how they lost people, or you've lost this patient, and you've continued, and you continue doing your work. You are carrying your own things, but your mask has to be demure. Your mask has to be untouched. Your smile has to be unfazed. And you're back there in the mission field, and you're doing your stuff, and you're supporting, and you're helping, and they're telling you, and they're pouring out their stuff to you, which we're happy to hear, because that's why we're there, to hear you and to support you. Fast forward, Ukraine, 2023, 2024. 2023, I get to Ukraine. We go to one of the field sites, and we are driving, and I'm seeing destroyed buildings, portals on the road because of grenades and missiles, and destroyed buildings. We go into the facility, and of course I speak Russian, I understand Russian. They speak in Ukrainian, I understand them very well. So they're speaking even to the counselors especially, and they're talking about, my house is over there, and when the occupation started, the Russians on this side, the Ukrainians on this side, and my house in the middle, and missiles are flying over my house, and I don't know when I'm going to die. This is an old lady talking about, her family had left. When the war started, she quickly, especially for the men, she quickly asked the men to leave, and they left the country. So she's basically left alone, and the children, so she's left alone. An old woman, I think she was like 80, 85 years old. She's like, I'm just alone. And when the fighting was going on, they were passing over my house, shooting at each other, and I'm in the middle. And she was saying she was just waiting for that one that would hit her home and kill her. It never happened, thankfully. And she's talking about this, and others tell you about, no, my children left, and I have no idea whether they died or not. I can't communicate with them. They left and crossed the border. They left to cross the border. I have no idea where they are. And woman was telling us about her children and her grandchildren who went, and she has no idea. They had never spoken now 3 years. She did not know where they were. They were escaped during the war, or at least left home during the war, during the start of the war, to escape the whole crisis, and she has no clue. And of course, you're seeing the buildings, you're hearing people talking about the family members who have died, and the family members have lost, and livelihoods have been destroyed and lost, and nothing. And I remember I went back to the room the first night, and I just could not function. I didn't feel like eating, I didn't feel like sleeping, I didn't feel like resting. I just had this unease all through, and I had no clue. It took me a week or two to realize, it's the weight of all that is happening, because this was my first active war zone. and the sirens almost every 1 hour, 2 hours, what a air raid alert, something is probably coming in or something is going to hit or something has hit, and so you're going to the basement. So the first week was tough. The first 2 weeks were very, very tough. It was tough to work, but these were the tough ones because I didn't know what was happening to me. I could not sleep completely. Then it hit me later. These things are affecting me. The things I am seeing are affecting me. Of course, I have my own, but my own usually are left at home or left way at the back. I compartmentalize very well. So I keep them way, way, way deep somewhere down. So they never come out. I think they do come up, but I don't know when they're coming out. So now you see they keep coming out. We are talking and they keep just bubbling out, bubbling out, bubbling out. So yeah, I didn't know what was happening to me until 2 weeks later when I realized. I just sat one day and realized, oh yeah, this weight is sitting on me. All the pain that I'm hearing about, all the pain that I'm probably sensing and feeling, all the distraction I'm seeing, it was really overwhelming me at that point. So what's the point of all this? The point is that we carry our own traumas, our own original traumas, our own first-hand traumas, our own issues and pains, and we go with them into the field. We get into the field, then we now begin collecting more, like the stuff, the trauma that comes with the explosions, the gunshots, and then the things we are seeing, the things we are hearing, the things around us, and things are continuing. Then now we are carrying even those, and then the stories we hear, we carry also those. And where do you think it goes to? It doesn't come out here, at least not for me. It's coming out here now, like years later. But where does it go to? What do we do with it? How do we deal with it? I am lucky that in Ukraine, one of the nights when we had not slept in Odessa the whole night because we were hit. We were like, properly, like you're being hit, and it's missile, rocket, drone the whole night. I woke up, I said, yeah, start writing this book. If I survive this night, I'll continue writing. If I survive Ukraine, hopefully I'll finish writing this book and tell this story before I die. That's how this book came about. KG is a very big comedian in South Africa. Lives in Cape Town. I met him in South Sudan in 2022. He'd come for the Juba International comedy concert. I can't remember the name of the event. So he'd come in for that, and we met. And so he was like, yeah, so what's up, man? Yeah, you're an entertainer. I'm like, yeah, I'm a stand-up comedian, but I'm also a medical doctor. And I've been like, yo. And he just kept, he kept saying, yo, you should write a book. You should write a book. So KG, I wrote the book. Of course, you know about the book. So KG knows about the book, and thank you for pushing. So now, when I was in, and I told him I was going to write because I had done The Power of Passion in my first book in 2020 what? 2020? No, 2014. 2015, because I finished The Power of Passion when I was in Liberia doing the Ebola response. So I'd done that. So I'd been thinking that I should put out a second book now that I was gaining more experience. So KG was like, 2022, you need to do this. And eventually, that night in Odessa, I was like, yo, I need to start writing this before I go. Because again, with every mission, life becomes shorter, because every mission, I think, has been more and more dangerous than the previous, and it becomes shorter. So that's how this book came about. And yeah, so we carry our traumas, we can collect more traumas, and where do they go to? I can write it in a book. I can go to the gym and push out the demons, and as I'm pushing out the weight, pushing out doing whatever I'm doing. I can throw hands sometimes and punch a wall. Okay, that's not a good idea, but it happened once when my cluster headaches were killing me and I needed to divert my attention from the pain in my head, and I decided to put pain in my hand, or put pain in the wall. I don't know how much pain the wall felt, but this one felt a bit more pain than here. A little, for a bit. So yeah, I can put it here. I can put it in the, take it out in the gym, push the demons out. I can punch a wall, push a demon out. Hopefully, I think. But the others who cannot do that, or do not know how to do that, or do not have the time to do that, or whatever reason cannot do what I can do. I'm privileged, and I'm like, I can do that. I can get this, vent them out a bit. So if there's nobody proactively providing mental health support, a team, teams preferably, just moving around or being available for us, being available for people, we will completely break, and then we are completely useless to society. We cannot continue doing what we are supposed to do, what we do, if we are not available, if we are out of stock, if our brains, our minds go out of stock. And that is why I did this, Broken Souls, so that people can know what we go through. People can know what it is that we feel, what we struggle with. And you help us push this agenda of mental health. We create mental health awareness, we create mental health systems, and we help humanitarians and all emergency responders across, especially, again, I repeat, the national staff, especially the national staff. It is way tougher for them. I, as an international staff, can leave and go for rest and recuperation, which in most organizations is mandatory. They have nowhere to go to sometimes. They can't leave. They can't run away, even if they wanted to. The much they can do is stay at home, and staying home now, all your demons are with you there in the house. Sometimes someone told me one time, why would I stay at home? I would have even more stress, because now I'm not thinking about all these things. I'd rather come to work and spend time working, so that it kind of diverts my attention. So, mental health support, tusaidieni, nini. Let us help each other. Let us help us. You help us. Spread the word. Please like, subscribe, share. Let's make this algorithm work for us, and let's push these stories out there so that people get to know more about what it is that we go through as humanitarians, your friends, your family members. Let's figure out systems that can be put in place proactively to support us so that we don't completely break. This has been the Dreadlock Doc, the Dreadlock Doctor, Humanitarian Chronicles. Have a wonderful time. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for seeing my tears. you might see more. I promised I won't get them out, and they just came out. They don't listen. They don't listen. Do your tears listen to you? Me, I don't know. Mine don't listen to me sometimes, as you. So, whatever reason. That's it. Triggers, traumas and triggers, part 3. There are a few more parts coming before we change the topic to another thing. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful morning. Have a wonderful time wherever you are. Remember to check out the sunrise that I took earlier, just for purposes of cooling down or warming up. I don't know what was happening, but yeah, enjoy yourself and have a wonderful time. Thank you and adios.